Hey everyone, my name is Penny Zanker, and it's time to reset. This podcast goes beyond just navigating change. It's about new ways of thinking about how you can approach challenges, how you can shift your mindset when needed, create some space and grace for yourself so that you can rethink, recharge, and reprioritize when and where needed. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Thank you for hitting play and sharing this next episode with me. It's time to reset. Hello, friends. Welcome. I'm so excited that you guys are here today because we are going to have a big freaking time.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, because we're talking about big freaking change. And I'm so excited. My friend Cara Poppitt is here, and she just launched her book, Big Freakin' Change. Let me tell you a little bit about Cara, and then I'll tell you her official bio, and I'll tell you why I love her, and then we'll get into it. So she is an accomplished leader dedicated to helping professionals break through barriers, take bold action, and achieve their highest aspirations. As the founder of 2 award-winning companies, I didn't say 1, I said 2. She ranks among the top 2% of female entrepreneurs. That's pretty impressive. A testament for her visionary leadership and strategic insight. She's guided over 10,000 entrepreneurs towards unlocking their full potential, combining creativity with business acumen to drive growth and innovation. So that's the official guide there. But, you've got to love this woman because she's so down to earth. She's so in her heart, and you'll feel it when she connects with you. Her book really, it resonates, and it makes you want to be a better person and step out. And that's what she's talking about, is how to help us to step up and step out. So without further ado, Cara, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Penny. Always great to see you, my friend. Always great.
Yeah, it's so fun. And we had a really fun time when we were together in New York City. We did some dancing all together. And, we'll have to organize another time when we can get together, do an event together. That'd be super fun, right?
Fun, yes.
So tell us, what was the impetus behind creating Big Freakin' Change?
Well, Penny, my whole life, I always had this feeling I would write a book. And in high school, my friends would say, oh, one day you're going to be a motivational speaker.
Did they really? No way.
And I don't know if it was just because of my dance teaching vibes. I'm always like, come on, guys, we got this. And the high clap, that energy.
Right.
And then through life, I always had it in my mind, like, one day I'm going to do this. And then I started writing out ideas and, coming up with a plan and researching and doing everything I can do. And then one of my girlfriends who was diagnosed with terminal cancer said to me, like, why are you waiting? I have no more time. You have time. And it hit me so hard because we all justify our excuses of limited energy, time, and money. But when we really get to the heart of it, it's a fear of not feeling ready.
Yes, yes, totally.
That's where it all started.
How did you overcome, for you personally, right? Yeah. I know the book talks about, but for you personally, how did you overcome that fear and take that chance?
So I always believe in connecting to your higher intuition or your knowing or God or the universe. And I've spent a lot of time being quiet and still. So I had this conviction that I'm going to do this, but I didn't have the skills. I don't think you know this about me, but as a child, I had a disability with reading and writing. And you carry it with you, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, maybe I'm not that smart. Maybe I'm not that good.
Right.
On and on and on. So I signed up for a course. That was my big action task that I was going to do. I'm like, I'm going to sign up with AJ Harper. I researched, great speakers and coaches, and I found her and I really enjoyed it. And I was with people there was a Harvard professor in there. There was huge doctors that were doing like cancer research and huge sales managers. And I was very intimidated. I'm like, wow, these people are like incredible. And they have all these PhDs and, all these letters. And I have like 2 bachelor degrees, like I was definitely out of my comfort zone. But this voice inside of me was just like, just go anyway, just go anyway. And through my course, Penny, I became friends with all these people. And what I learned was no amount of success makes you feel ready. And even these people, I said, what gets in your way from doing what you really want to do in life? And they all instantly in the chat said, lack of time, lack of time, lack of time. And then I said, if I could give you 24 more hours a day, what else would get in your way? And the chat was silent. And then the Harvard professor writes first, not feeling ready. And the sales manager writes in, not feeling ready, of a multinational makeup company, like huge profiles. And it just kept going. And I was like, wow, if these astute leaders don't feel ready, like it doesn't exist for any of us. And that was just a confirmation of keep going for myself. So I wish I had this like big moment of like, oh, this is when I knew I was going to do it. But it was like listening to my intuition and my calling and then taking action. And through the journey of even writing the book, I had so many ups and downs, being like, oh, I don't think I can do this. It's hard. We pursue dreams. And then we're like, what did we get ourselves into? So
well, it's hard and it's vulnerable work.
Yes. So
it's also very vulnerable. You're putting your words, and I think that's part of where the fear is, at least in many instances, is because putting our rawest self out there.
Yes, to strangers.
Yeah. And then we don't want to be judged. Who wants to be judged and be like, oh, well, that wasn't good. Or, and of course, we live in a world today where it's not only in their mind, they're putting it on social media, right? They're putting it, in your book reviews or wherever it might go. I had some really nasty things said about my TEDx. So, people are, our critics. So I can relate to that a lot. But you took one step at a time.
One step at a time. And that's what I teach my clients, my students, my children. What's your next right step? And I think so often we want to go big. We want to have it perfect. As women, we over procrastinate. We strive for perfection. And that even, prevents us from starting. So yeah.
Can I challenge you for a second?
Please do.
And I like to do, because I like to. Yeah. So you said your next right step.
Yeah.
Is that what you normally say? Because doesn't that lead yourself to think about, isn't it the next best step? Because I could imagine if I had to find the right step, then I might be a little, I might procrastinate or question, is this the right step? Or is this the best step based on the information I have right now? But that can change tomorrow or in a week or in a month. And then I can, what I call reset. I can take a reset moment and I can adapt and adjust along the way. So tell me more about your...
I think we're saying the same thing. So the next right step is your point of view in that moment, right? With the information you have, with your resources, with your energy. The next right step for one of us might be, myself included right now, is book launch, might be to have rest, because rest is productive, right? And the thing that I like to tell people is you can always pivot. And so I might take the next right step that I think is right? We take the best step, the right choice, whatever what
feels right. Okay, I'm getting, now I understand what you're saying. It's not the perfect step. It's what feels right to you in this moment.
Exactly. And then you take the next one and you might pivot and go backwards. You might be like, oh, that was not where I wanted it to go, right? And I think giving ourselves permission. So my book is really about permission to be, permission to go, permission to express, to be fully expressed. And I think a lot of us play small in life. We want to play big, but playing big is outside of our comfort zone and it's scary.
So tell me why, and I think, tell me if I'm right around this, but I think it's women mostly who feel like they need permission. Men are just, let's go get it. Let's go do it. Why do women feel like they need to give themselves or get permission from some external source in order to drive or to excel?
Well, there's a lot of studies, Penny, around the psychology of what holds us back from making change. So if we look from an evolutionary perspective, both men and women, our brains are prediction machines and they like certainty at all cost. So we like predictability. Men, there's a lot of research that will say that men believe that they can learn as they go, where women would like to know before they go. And so the idea is that we over prepare and we strive for competence. Men believe they can be competent learning something new, trying a new job. They'll figure out the skills on the job, where women like to be feeling ready and prepared before they take action. Some research...
Do you think that's the mother in us, like that nurturer that wants to know we're doing the right thing? I don't know. I'm just like, bleh.
Well, there's a lot of research in psychology that will say the woman's role has always been naturally to care for other people. We are programmed at a young age. Think of how many times girls are taught, be safe. And the message is different for boys. It's like, get out there, go do it. So our messaging and our coding is different instantly. And as a woman, we're natural caregivers in society. And Dr. Gebar Mate, he does some really interesting work around the cost of suppressing emotions and the cost of over preparing and striving for perfection. It's causing autoimmune disease. And when we look at autoimmune disease, 80% of people that have autoimmune disease are women. And
really?
there's
Wow.
This is like the next research. And when you look back from all these different case studies, it's black and white. So we need to do better at expressing ourselves, saying no, putting up
I
boundaries.
thought women were more expressive.
Well, sometimes we're more expressive on, complimenting people or saying how we, what we want. But think of boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Women are not good at setting boundaries. A man will say, sorry, I have to leave at this time, and he leaves. A woman is like, oh, I'll try to wrap this up, and then I'll try to get my childcare taken care of, and then I'll try. Like, we don't
Get it all done.
No, right? Yeah. We strive, and our goal is to make everyone else happy, where men's brains are not wired the same way. So part of it is nature, part of it is nurture. And now we got to do better as a society.
Right. I think you just need to have teenagers. I've gotten very good at saying no. But yeah, that's so interesting, right? That, and I think it helps to know that, like, in a way, right? It's that awareness that, okay, it's not just me.
Exactly.
That it's, that it's our psychology, it's our environment, that has programmed us in such a way. So how do we change that cycle?
Yeah. So the idea that I want to share with listeners, both men and women, is that when we feel stuck in life, we think it's a problem, but it's actually an alert indicating that there's more available to you. So if you think about that for a moment, if you didn't feel stuck and you were just coasting, you would kind of have status quo, but you would be fulfilled. You're not really exploring things, and you're in your zone of comfort, right? But if you feel stuck, you don't have those feelings unless you know that you're capable of more or there's something better for you. So first is like understanding being stuck is not a problem. But most people, when they get stuck, is they want to feel ready before taking action. And this is what I call the backwards confidence model. So we feel stuck in life, wait to feel ready, wait to feel confident, and then we take action. And the sad reality is most of us wait forever. We don't do that. And then we have huge regret, right? That's the number one fear in life, is that we're going to regret not doing things. But then we wait to feel ready and we don't do the things anyways. So the whole concept is to change the conversation around confidence, that you don't need confidence. You need courage to flex your muscle. Like courage is available to all of us. So we flex that courage muscle, we take action, and confidence is the result of taking action. And just that simple mindset reset shift on confidence will actually give us some momentum and to understand that there's nothing wrong with us. Because I think so many people shame ourselves, like, oh, imposter syndrome. No, everybody has it. When you try something new, you're going to feel this way. So the conversation can shift for all of us.
Because we're all just little 6-year-olds. I mean, let's face it, right? And that's where the imposter syndrome comes from, I think, is that we're all just little kids inside. Yeah. And we're sensitive. And we just want to play and have joy in our life. And there's all this other stuff around us that keeps us from doing it. And somewhat of the programming, that's there that creates this barrier between our joyful, playful, and courageous self.
Yeah. And we have limitations. The inner voice, I talk about this in my book, is that we don't even realize the inner voice that's talking to us. It might not even be our voice. It might be a parent, a sibling, a spouse. But there's always a narrative running. And so having that mindset awareness of going, okay, this is going on. Now, what am I going to do about it? And a lot of people are like, oh, just, ignore the fear. It's like, take the fear with you. Stop resisting it. It's there. Acknowledge it, but move forward.
I read a book and this made a huge difference for me, especially when I was going through a really difficult period in my life where everything was just crashing down. It was feel the fear and do it anyway. So you're going to feel the fear. Nobody is saying you're not going to feel it.
Yeah.
But do it anyway. Take that step. And like you said, I definitely experienced that. I wouldn't have been able to put it into words. So I think how you've done that with the reverse confidence model and really named it is absolutely true every time. So I'm a big goal setter. So, I set big goals. Like my dad died when I was young, and it was like, I'm going to live this life to its fullest, And so I stretch, I create these really big goals. And then I have to take action to reach those goals. And it's in that action that I do get more confidence or get more clarity as to what works and what doesn't work. And I don't put too much vested in the outcome that, I am not the outcome. right? But I'm going for it. And what the hell? I live one life and I'm here to live it, So if I've lived that model, I feel it. I do get stuck at times too.
Yeah.
And I know you've got 6 steps that you walk people through. Walk us through those 6 steps.
Yeah. So the first step is you first have to acknowledge you're stuck. So nothing's going to change unless you realize that you want to make a change. So first is acknowledging you're stuck. And then the second step is you identify the actual type of change you want to make. So I talk about 8 different types of change that's based on the dimension of wellness. So if there's 8 things that make us well, these are the 8 areas that we can change in. And most people, for example, when we set goals, we are attached to an outcome. And what I like people to do is get attached to the feeling that comes with the outcome. Because feelings, 95% of our decisions are made based on our feelings. And so even if people are like, I don't have feelings, I don't have, it's all there.
You have feelings.
They're this way, right? Maybe you suppress them, but they're still.
Right. Yes.
So acknowledging the actual type of change that you want to make. The next step is manage your mindset. And this is really important. It's like a muscle we have to work out. And I give the analogy of, you don't work out once in the gym and you're fit for life. It's daily work. Same with your mindset. And I think there's a misconception and a gap. Like even we see leaders and we're like, wow, they seem so confident or they have it all figured out. Everybody had to work for it. It's not a personality trait. So we manage our mindset by understanding, what's in our head, what's holding us back, where do we want to go? Why do we want to move this way, right? Really understanding the drive. What is the driving force behind making this change in our life? And then after this step,
maybe I can just jump in for 1 second to relate, because there's a lot of correlation between what you're talking about and what I talk about. Nothing's new. We're packaging it in a different way and hoping that, people gravitate and can live a better life because of it. So like you said, in that manage your mindset, right? That is, for me, it's the reset moments that lead us to that reset mindset, to manage our mindset, because it creates a space. We give it a name and say, I'm going to take this moment, like you said, and reflect and be more aware. And that's all it takes, is a moment to step back away from what's going on and get some perspective on it so that you can then take your next steps. And anyway,
what's so interesting, what you just said, Penny, is like, think of, you wrote your book, right? It was a huge chapter, huge project, boom. Once you hit that milestone, you're like, what's next? Well, I'm going to have a sequel, or I'm going to do this course. It's our perspective changes because your mindset has expanded of what's possible. And so absolutely. I think that's something that we got to remember, is that doing the hard work expands our mindset.
I want to say something on that because that's so true. And then I want to hear an example for you, because I wanted people to hear examples. Like you said you had some learning challenges. I was not, like, my brothers were super smart. I was not getting the same grades or didn't go to the kinds of schools that they went to. So I want everybody, we're just like you guys, right? We're just like everyone who's listening. And most people are. Most people worked for what they got and they built their confidence over time. And how it expands is like, after my first book that I wrote, The Productivity Zone, I was like, wow, now what? Like, what's possible, right? I'd always wanted to write a book like you, and wow, now I did it. And a couple of years later, I'm like, I want to do a TEDx. I'm going to do a TEDx. I'm going to speak. And I did a TEDx.
Yes.
Right. And then now what? I mean, geez, I've done all this stuff. Like, what's possible? And then I said, and it's putting the intention out there. Then I said, I want to be a part of a movie. I want to write a movie or be a part of it. And I became an executive producer on a movie.
I didn't know that part.
Yes. I was an executive producer on a movie called Wish Man. It's about Frank Shankowitz and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And he was one of the founders. And I wanted to do something around, we can all be our own hero, right? And that fell in my lap. And it was only because I put it out there. I dared to dream it. And then it happened. I made it happen. Then what happens is our reticular activating system in our brain starts to tune into different things. You tell someone, they say, oh, I know somebody, and then it filters out. So anything's possible. I want to hear, how has that shown up for you, where it's just expanded your idea of things?
Well, I'll tell a really old story, but it's probably my favorite story. So when I was 17, I moved to Mexico by myself to dance in a hotel. I wrote my last final and I'm like, I'm going to be a professional dancer. I didn't have Spanish, I didn't speak Spanish. I made $500 a month. I lived in shared accommodations. I had a bicycle, but I was happy. And I met people from all over the world. And after I did that, I'm like, oh, what else could I do while I'm here? And so you meet people in the industry, and I did a couple commercials and some modeling, and then I got picked to go to the Dominican Republic, and I shot this huge commercial, this huge event, and I was this celebrity selling pots, okay, like cooking pots. It was like, Maria Jesus, where did you get your cooking pots? And I'm like with paparazzis. And anyways, it's hilarious because we go into this supermarket and I'm everywhere. Like I'm in the parkade, I'm like huge batters, and I'm white, and I'm a rubia, like blonde hair, and this whole thing. But all these things step onto something new, right? And then I got picked as a choreographer to go to Venezuela, and like all these, I didn't go to Venezuela, but all these things started going. And when I look
Your
back,
options open up, right?
options open up. It's like,
Very
oh, I can do this. And then you do that and you're like, oh, I can do that too. And the reason why this story is so dear to me is I think so many of us wait to have everything figured out before we do something adventurous. And that experience at such a young age taught me, go, like just do it and you're going to be fine. And I learned the importance of trusting myself. And that allowed me to go backpacking all over Europe, do some really cool things in my life that were just for me.
Mm.
And I think that gave me the skills. Like when I came back, I was like, we got to start teaching salsa dancing. Like salsa is not very popular in Calgary. Like I am bringing it to Calgary.
Yeah.
So I started this new business, and it was all this Latin dancing for couples. And then that happens, and then I open up my dance studio, and you just keep up leveling. But it's also can go the other way where you feel like you've done it and now you're going to just coast. And that can be great for people if you're fulfilled. But most people, when you start expanding, you realize there's this beautiful unfolding, and you learn more about yourself and the world and the impact you want to have and the opportunities that you can tap into. So that would be an example that I would resonate with.
Yeah, there's something about the mess that delivers beauty.
Yeah.
Like maybe not in the moment, like, moment to moment, but there's a movie that I absolutely love called Collateral Beauty. And it just reminds me of the spice of life is not that everything goes perfectly.
Yeah.
Right. It's that we work hard for something, then we appreciate it that much more. Then we understand what it takes. We learn so much along the way. And that's where the real juice is. It's not just that's why so many people, they achieve something great and then they feel like this is it.
Yeah. But I think the beauty of achieving and making a change is that we change in the process. We change.
Exactly.
Changes. Our heart changes, our goals change. And that's the unfolding. That's the goal there, right? We learn what else is possible. And I think when you learn what's possible, like I see this in you, is that you've achieved such great accomplishments. And now you have the heart to like impact more people, and you help people like, oh, I have this tip. I want to share it with you. And that's fulfilling, because when we rise and we can bring other people with us, that's how we make real change in the world.
And that's what we as women, coming back to the women, we need to do that for one another, right? Help each other to rise, create support systems, and do it together.
And I think a really important thing for everyone to remember, especially women, is we are more similar than we are different, but we don't talk about the messy middles, right? We see what life is. Like if you saw my life, you'd be like, wow, sister, right? I'm in a crazy zone. And it's in hindsight, when I get out of that zone, that I'll look back and understand how the dots were connected. Mm-hmm. But when we're going through the journey, it sometimes feels really abrupt, or you feel stuck. So yeah, back to the
Yes, I was going to bring you back. So I think we're on number 4, is that, or 5?
You've acknowledged you're stuck. You identify the type of change. You manage your mindset. The next one is build momentum. And Penny, this is where I talk about building momentum within your comfort zone. So many of us, let's say we want to get in better shape. So we join a gym, we work out hard, probably too hard, and then a month later we stopped.
For now.
So yeah, and whatever it may be. And we all have this. We get like annoyed and we get desperate for change, that we go all in on the diet, all in the work, all in the dating, like whatever you're going to do. And then you rebound because it's not sustainable. So I like to build momentum within your comfort zone. So it's like you're going to go for a 5-minute walk, and now you're going to start programming your body that you want more. Now you're going to do 10 minutes, and you make very small increments before you go join the gym. So you're doing conditioning, you're building some momentum. Then the next step is we invest in ourselves. And this is the step that is so often missed, especially for entrepreneurs and especially for women. There's a lot of studies around this. So invest in yourself is different than self-care. A lot of people say, oh, like I go for my massage, or I get my nails done, or I get my hair done, like I'm good. I consider invest in yourself as any activity of your choice that's not work, that brings you joy, that fuels you up, charges you, but you do it with intention and reflection. And what I mean by that is I'll go for a deep tissue massage and I'm like, dig in, like anything you notice, like get it out. Like I like it really strong, right? But before I put my head down, I will say to myself, Cara, what do you need to know today to get to X? What are you missing? Help me understand, the solution to this problem. But I give myself an intentional cue. And it's incredible. My massages, I come out and I'm like, have so much ideas. I write them all down. I'm like, whoa, best hour of my life. Because it's intention with reflection. And now I'm charged up. I rested myself. And after that, I have a surplus of energy or some momentum that then I'm going to act boldly. And that's the next step. This is where the big freaking change happens. So it's applying for the new job. It's quitting. It's, going on dating sites. It's selling your house, moving. It's the big thing that you've been waiting to feel ready to do that you haven't done. So that is always outside of your comfort zone. And just acknowledging that because you've built some momentum like, oh, I can do this. I can update my resume. I can talk to a couple people. I can practice my interviewing skills. Then you can take that leap. And after we act boldly, Penny, the next part is enjoy the journey. A lot of entrepreneurs.
I think that's what people don't do.
We don't do it, right?
They act boldly and then, like you said, they move on to the next thing.
Next. So entrepreneurs, especially, we don't pause in the stillness. We don't celebrate the success. It's like, what's next? And so enjoying the journey, whether you had a positive experience or not, you have to pause and find these moments of joy because joy is more, it's longer lasting than happiness. We go after happiness, but happiness is temporary. Joy is longer lasting. So when we find the joy in the journey, we can have better perspective. And after that, we've truly unlocked our confidence. And when I say unlocking your confidence, what does that mean? Is like you've peeled the onion, you've unlocked the next layer, but you're going to get stuck again. And this time you have this cycle of change model to help navigate. And this cycle works for businesses, organizations. You have a communication problem, you go through it. So often we don't invest in our employees when we're making a change. So instead of invest in yourself, it's invest in your employees. And we're not talking about it. We didn't warm them up. We're just like, boom, we're moving to this new operating system.
Right, here we go.
Here we go. And then we clean up a huge mess. And so it's really about being intentional to create change.
Awesome. See, it's such great insight and great interaction with the reset mindset. And I love everything that you said because it just resonates with me at all levels. So I want to go through a little bit of a lightning. Is there anything you want to bring before I kind of like go through a little bit of a lightning round?
No, I'm good. Take it away.
All right. So what's one song that helps you to reset?
My song is This Girl Is on Fire.
Yeah, nice.
Every morning, sister, I listen to it. I do like 3 minutes, push-ups, sit-ups, bum squeeze, the whole thing. And it just gets me in my body really quick. So that is my song. But if I'm with you or with other people, it's definitely This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Yes.
Awesome. So what's a mantra that you live by? Like a quick, if you need that quick mantra in the moment, what is it?
Go before you're ready. It's perfect time to go. Go.
What's something right now that scares you, but you're going to do it anyway?
Oh, I have lots of things that scare me. So my next thing will be a TEDx talk. So that is going to be scary and exciting.
Ooh, awesome. And what's something that you said yes to that changed everything for you?
Oh, I think Mexico. Saying yes. I'm on this trip with my friends. I'm like, how do you become a dancer on stage? And the guy's like, oh, you got to go through all these processes, send your resume, send this. I'm like, can I just audition now? He's like, do you have your dance shoes? I'm like, no, but I'm here now. Like, can I just do it? And anyway, so I auditioned, I write my last final and I left. And people thought I was crazy. They thought my parents were crazy. Like, how are you letting this 17-year-old girl? And I didn't even realize I was working illegally. But this moment of saying yes to myself and my dreams, like just opened me up. So that was a huge moment. And I saying yes to writing the book, even when I had so many things go against me. It's a higher calling, it's a higher purpose, it's a higher impact. And that is going to open up, new doors. I would love to be in a movie one day with Julia Roberts. I'm just putting that out there, Penny.
Put it out there. Awesome. Well, so it is.
So it is. Yes.
That's awesome. I love that. What's like one book that shifted your mindset significantly?
I would say there's a book called The Soul of Money. I read it a long time ago in university. And it was Lynn Twist. And she talks about the energy of money, that it's not a positive or a negative, but it amplifies who you are. And it's like energy just flowing. And my understanding of money, growing up, we didn't have much, so we had to work really hard, was that now like hard work pays off, but you have to work hard to make money. And now I'm in this period of life where I'm like, I don't have to work so hard. I have to be very intentional and the money will flow. So having that awareness really allowed me to expand and do bigger things and bolder things without the attachment to money.
That's a good one. It's a good one, people. Go check it out. How about a belief that you had to let go of to grow?
Oh, I'm a very loyal person. I hang on to things way longer than I need to. This could be a job, a position, relationships, situations. Mm-hmm. And I've had to learn that it's more important to be loyal to yourself than anyone else. And I think another thing is, I'm a peacekeeper. I don't love conflict. I've never had a lot of conflict. So I had to learn inner peace is the best source of peace. So that would be my shift.
We have a lot in common. So I say that all the time, that I'm the peacemaker and to avoid conflict. So last question is, how would you describe the reset mindset? Your definition of the reset mindset?
It's tools that you can activate quickly to have a new perspective. And it will allow you like personal change, personal growth, organizational, like anything you want in your life. It does come from your mindset. What you think is what you can experience. So a quick, easy access to shifting.
Awesome. I just get everybody to do that. I love to hear everybody's definitions of it. Yeah. So it's fun. So what didn't I ask you before we end that you really want to share, if there's anything?
So I encourage everyone to stop waiting to feel ready. And my main message is that readiness does not exist, and it's not a state of being, but it's a feeling that comes after you take action. And so I hope that this episode will just inspire you. The one thing that you keep putting off that you need to do, it sets your life into motion like a row of dominoes. So you got to flick that first peg and go through it. So your life is waiting for you is really what I want people to remember.
I like that. Your life is waiting for you. So where can people get the book, hear more information about you and Big Freakin Change?
Yes. So just www.bigfreakinchange.com. You can order it online, Indigo, Target, Amazon, all the bookstores. It's available where all books are sold.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was awesome.
Penny, I could talk to you for days. And thanks for showing up the way you do with a real heart to serve people. Educate and make an impact. It's really remarkable.
Thank you.
And keep us focused.
Yes, right on. All of this is about focusing on what matters. And sometimes, like you said, it's focusing on your heart, focusing on permission, focusing on letting go, whatever that is that you need in the moment to get to the next place that you're going to. So for all of you who are listening, thank you for being here. And are you ready for Big Freakin Change? It's your time. Your life is waiting for you on the other side. So take action and tell us about it. Come back and share your thoughts, whether it's on LinkedIn or any other social media platform, Substack, where I have my newsletter. I would absolutely love to hear from you all, and definitely go get Cara's book.
Thanks, Penny.
See you, everyone. Hey, thank you for spending this time with me. It really means a lot. If you're feeling a little off, distracted, overwhelmed, stuck, or just out of sync, remember that's your signal to reset. And that's all it takes, just recognizing one reset moment at a time. So stay tuned for more tips, tools, tricks, stories, strategies, all here on Time to Reset. We'll see you in the next episode.